Thanks for watching. A joke I told with my 29-year-old partner caused me to lose my marriage to a man I love. What can I do to improve it? I created this account just now because I need help. The man I love is leaving me because of a joke I told that got out of hand. I've been married to my partner for 4 years, and I love him no matter what. I can't picture my life without him. Some of my friends told me to try a joke they've played on their husbands or partners telling them you want to divorce or split up. They kept bugging me to do it even though I thought it was mean and I never wanted to, especially to someone I love. I was the only one of the 5 of us who hadn't done it yet. When they told me how their boyfriends reacted, I gave in, which was a bad idea. When I did it last week, my husband didn't reply the way I thought they would, like my friends' partners had done. I thought he would try to talk me out of it or offer answers, but he didn't. I'm not happy anymore, but I think we should get a divorce. I told him while we were eating dinner and watching a movie. When he looked at me for a moment, I'm sure something broke in his eyes. He got up and went to our bedroom. 10 minutes later, he came back out with a bag full of things and left without saying a word. I tried to stop him from packing his bags when I saw him do it, and told him it was just a joke and that I didn't mean it. But he told me I was wrong and left. Since then, I've tried to get in touch with him through video chats, emails, calls, and texts, but he hasn't answered. I talked to his friends, but none of them would tell me where he was. When they do react, it's to say they don't want to get involved. When I went to where he worked, they wouldn't let me in. His dad and uncles have also turned down engagement rings. I got a letter from his sister. No matter if it was a joke, you made a big mistake. I've emailed many times to make it clear that it was a joke, and I've even included pictures of my chats with my friends to prove it. That being said, he has ignored everything. My friends haven't been there for me. They just tell me to wait and that he will move on some other time. Everything fell apart when I got the real divorce papers yesterday. It hurt like someone hit me in the face, and it still hurts like that. I tried very hard to get in touch with him, but all I got was a note telling me to talk to his lawyer because he didn't have anything to say. How can I get my love back? I'd rather not lose him. I know I made a stupid mistake, and now my whole world is falling apart. Change. People have already asked me about this through direct texts. To be clear, I didn't know that there were any issues between us. We laughed and enjoyed being with each other all day. We hadn't fought or been apart in a while. It looked like everything was fine. These tips are the best. The main idea of the joke is telling your partner that you want to end the relationship or get a divorce. What the heck is that? It's not a joke. You are being held responsible for what you did, which was very stupid. To be honest, it looks like your female friends know how incredibly dumb you are and knew this would go wrong. They did it with their partners, and none of them had the same experience. They say that it really made their lovers love and care for them more. So it wasn't a joke. It was a tool for controlling people. That's something I see. Let's be honest, this was never a joke. Those words were just a way for you to control him. I would never want to be in charge of him. I see things your way, but I was just joking. How old are you? Because I've never heard of a trick that is more childish, mean, or stupid. It doesn't look like you've been able to let him know you were joking. In any case, that's all you can do. Even if you thought it would be fun to hurt him, he still wants to leave you. Let's see how lucky you get. I did tell him it was a joke. I even sent an email with a picture of my chat with my friends to prove it was a joke and that I wasn't going back. That being said, he is not answering. Then he probably doesn't. You want to marry someone who would hurt him on purpose, just to make fun of him. Why didn't you follow him when he went to the room to get his things? I didn't know he was packing. That he wasn't packing his things. I'm not sure what I thought. The next story. Because of the joke his fiancée played on my husband, I'm thinking about not going to my brother's wedding. My partner is 30 years old, and I'm 25. My brother, 32 years old, and his fiancée, 31 years old, just came to visit our city. Because my boyfriend and I bought a house, they came to stay with us for the first time. To put things in perspective, the woman who is going to marry my brother loves Halloween and thinks of herself as an adult Disney character. She often gets lost in her hobbies and acts like a child sometimes. I really think that what happened was her getting angry, even though she sees it as an attack on her person. Because of this fight, my spouse stopped their stay. In other words, they were told to leave. Since the first time they met, My fiance's brother has been saying that my husband has a scary vibe. I used to believe it was a praise when she said he reminded her of people in her books, but now I'm not so sure. Her comments are based on how he looks, how he acts in general, and the fact that he has a tattoo on his hand. During this visit, she said she couldn't picture someone like him being scared or yelling, and she said she wanted him to be scared. Her goal while she was there was to scare him. But neither my brother nor I knew about it. He tried to jump and scare my husband in our dark garage, which is what caused all the trouble. When he got home from running, she was ready to hide in a full outfit and mask to surprise him. He pushed her away without knowing who it was because he didn't want to yell. After hitting her head on the wall, she looked very upset. Luckily, her answer let him know right away that it wasn't an attacker. He told her he was sorry, made her tea, called me, turned on the light, took off her mask, and helped her get inside. My brother and I were out together. As soon as we got home, I checked to see if she was okay and told her the joke was a bad idea. It could have been very bad for her. She then broke down in tears and said that my husband had hit her too hard and must have known she was just playing a light-hearted joke. "Are you saying I hit you on purpose?" My husband asked in a low voice. She hesitated before answering yes, and then she said, "Leave my house, I tried to make things better, but my husband was sure she couldn't stay if she really thought he had hurt her on purpose." I agreed with my partner because she was determined to stand by her claim. Now my brother is mad and says I should have done more to calm things down, get my husband to say sorry, and be Kate's fiancé while she dealt with the fallout. Apparently, he thinks that everything would have been fine if I had helped my husband quit. I don't think this is fair because my brother didn't talk to his fiancée or try to reason with her during the chat. Even though he kept his cool, it was clear that her words hurt my husband, which I believe to be true. Why should I have stood by her instead of my husband when I think she went too far and said that my brother's fiancé was planning to hurt her? I didn't see very far ahead. I should have thought about my brother getting married soon. I think he should be the one to tell his fiancée to tell my husband she's sorry though. None of this would have happened if she hadn't hidden in the dark garage in the outfit with the hood. At the time, he couldn't have known it was her, and I think anyone else would have felt the same way. Since she wasn't hurt more badly than she was, she's pretty lucky. There is a clear chain of events here, but she won't take responsibility. From my point of view, what she did was like playing dumb games. They are being rude by trying to hide her guilt, and your husband has nothing to answer for. Not a hole. That's the truth. It's one thing to jump someone in a dark garage and then walk into a well-lit room from a closet. He should be thankful that he didn't break her nose or mouth. I live in Oklahoma. She is lucky that she wasn't shot. This is Texas. There is a real chance of getting shot. She was really stupid to do that. I promise that no one will attack me again. In no way funny. She seems to be too obsessed with the op's husband. What was the point of her joke on him in the first place? Do they often make jokes about each other? So strange, and I don't get why she did what she did. What exactly did she think would happen? Would he grab her, lean her against a wall, and take off her mask right then? This is not a book about a sad love story. Jesus, her brother-in-law, is that person. I don't understand either. My partner doesn't make fun of her with me. They don't get along well. Everything she thinks about him is on the surface. She has never met him. She thinks she can read people very well, though, and tells herself she knows who they are and what kind of person they are. She has tried to guess what would happen with him in the past but failed, because she thinks bad things about him. She definitely does this with other people she meets. The next story. Her boyfriend of 24 years wants to move in with me, but I don't want to do it until after our trip. How do I tell him? We've been together for a year, but our busy lives have only let us spend a few nights together at a time. My partner wants me to move in with him right away. I told him I would think about it in a few months, which I did. However, on a recent trip, I saw a part of him that really annoyed me. My partner often says hurtful things, especially about how I look. I'm sorry to say this, but he has no right to say bad things about how someone looks. I have never brought up the fact that he's really fat because I don't care. While I was making dinner, he started making fun of my big arms by saying I looked like Popeye. I'm strong and fit, and I already worry about how I look, so this really hit home for me. I started crying because I didn't feel safe. Instead of comforting me, he left the hotel room, locked the door, and said, I'll be downstairs when you're ready when we talked again. He was mad that I was upset and said, I can't take a joke. I'm sick of having to hear everything he says nearby. In the end, he promised not to say bad things about my looks in the future. When he looked at pictures 2 hours later, though, he said, Wow, your makeup was really messed up today on the way home. He also behaved in a disturbing way. During the 5-hour flight, he ordered a lot of food, made a mess, and asked me to look in the overhead bin for his headphones. When I told him I didn't want to wake up the person next to me just to look for them, he turned away and rolled his eyes. The last straw was how he talked to the flight attendant. He was busy sharing selfies to Instagram and didn't pay attention to her when she told him to buckle up and turn his phone into airplane mode. He yelled, Why do you have to bother me all the time? You're not my mother. When I asked him to do what she said, I replied in an embarrassed tone, I'll do whatever I want. Well, stop acting like a child. Then he replied, No, you are the child. You don't know anything at that point. I just closed my eyes and tried to sleep, holding back tears. About 10 minutes later, he tried to hold my hand and told me, You know, I love you. I'll always love you. My heart belongs to you. Throughout the trip, everything seemed to be about what he wanted. One day, I suggested we do our own thing, and he agreed. We were apart for just 8 hours, but he called me several times, asking what I was doing. When we met up again, he told me he missed me and worried about me. For me, it was the complete opposite. Without him, I felt peace. Despite all of this, he's always kissing and cuddling me, telling me he loves me. When I got home after the trip, he said it was so sad to go home without me and wish us would live together. However, his behavior on this trip has completely turned me off from the idea of moving in with him. How do I tell him I don't want to move in right now? I know this will hurt him. But after seeing this side of him, I'm not sure living together is the right choice. Now for the top comment. You should be breaking up with him. Not worried about how to tell him you don't want to live with him. Good thing she doesn't live with him. It will make breaking up with him so much easier. That's why he wants her to move in. He can't even mask his BS long enough to get his hooks in. He is that bad. Without him, I felt peace. You know what to do. He's affectionate, so you'll feel confused and give him the benefit of the doubt. And then he can keep being dreadful. Yep, this was the line for me. Bite the bullet and dump him. Do not move in with him. He is disrespectful and abusive. He wants everything on his terms. You know the relationship is over when you're happier if the other person is gone. Your life could be blissful. He gave you the ick. Going on holidays with a partner can either make or break the relationship. I think it's broken yours. If you move in with this guy, that will be your life. Disrespect and belittling you. He has shown you who he is. You know what his reaction will be already. He will get angry, storm off, gaslight, and love bomb you to try and get you to change your mind. I don't think you'll be able to just tell him, I don't want to move in, without it ending the relationship. And to be honest, I don't see a future for you with this man, child. Thank you for your reply. Yes, that's how I would describe it. I really got the ick, haha. He has told me before that if we broke up, I would probably become very depressed and move back to his home country. To be honest, reading these answers makes me think I'll start making plans to leave. The last story. Is it rude of me to leave my husband for a family trip after his surgery? My husband and I had a fight a month ago, and it's still causing a lot of problems in my home. I'd like some outside advice. My husband is 34 years old, and I've been married to him for 5 years. We were both excited to have a child when I got pregnant with our first child 3 years ago, but it was pretty hard for me to be pregnant. I was tired a lot of the time and had terrible morning sickness. My husband and I talked about my plan to stay at our house after giving birth before my due date. I didn't want to ask my family for help with the baby, even though that's what new moms in my country do. My relationship with my dad is rocky, and I wouldn't have felt safe leaving my brother in that situation. I love my family very much, but something wasn't quite right. Because he was the baby's dad, I thought it was his job to take care of me and the kid, and he agreed. We got everything ready for the baby and set up our house for guests. His mother offered to help, and my mother agreed to stay with us. After I gave birth, though, my husband took me to live with my family because he thought it would be best for me to be close to my mother and sister, who were better able to care for me than he was. During the month we stayed with my parents, he only came to see us 3 times. I felt ashamed and put down. When I lived in my old bedroom, which I shared with my sister, I had to deal with breast leaks, stitches, and a crying baby. Friends and family tried to help, but as a private person, all I wanted was to go home and be with my wife. I found out later that he had left with his friends for Dubai. I took my husband to the hospital a month ago after he got sick for 2 days and his pain got worse. He was there for 2 days for surgery to remove his appendix. I stayed with him the whole time, but I told him that his mother could care for him better than I could, so when he got out, I took him to his parents' house instead of ours. After that, I took our child and went to a different place to spend the summer with my family. That's not how he raised you, my family told me when I told them. You stay with your partner, even when they need you the most. It made my in-laws very angry, but my sister told me I should have left the baby with him. He came back to our house 2 weeks after his surgery, and I came back a week later. After that, he slept in the living room and has been quiet around me ever since. Then am I the jerk? Not the jerk. What did he think would happen? You gave him a taste of what he didn't have to give. The fact that he had other plans made him act worse. What other family members think doesn't matter.